Hello everyone, I'm Justin, and this is a full recap of Mortal Kombat released in 2021. If you end up enjoying this video and want to see more from us, then make sure to click that subscribe button and click the bell to know anytime we upload a new video. Mortal Kombat first made its arcade debut in October of 1992 and has since become one of the most popular gaming franchises of all time, ranking among the top 25 best-selling gaming franchises ever with over 25 installments. Back in 1995, the franchise made its first attempt to journey from the arcade to the big screen and was actually very successful financially, with the 1995 Mortal Kombat film going on to make $122 million at the worldwide box office on a budget of $20 million. However, the film's sequel, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, released in 1997, failed both critically and financially, only making $51 million on a budget of $30 million. So, there wouldn't be another attempt at bringing the franchise to cinemas for another 24 years until 2021's Mortal Kombat hit theaters, which wasn't quite as successful at the box office as the 1995 release, grossing $84 million on a budget of $55 million, but the reviews were overall more positive than either of the previous two adaptations. This was enough for Warner Bros. To continue their plans for a Mortal Kombat film series, hence why a sequel titled Mortal Kombat II will soon be hitting theaters on May 8th. So, ahead of the new movie's release, today we'll be taking a look back at the 2021 film to run down everything you'll need to know before heading to theaters. The movie opens in 1617 Japan and on the compound of Hanzo Hasashi of the Shirai Ryu clan, renowned as the greatest warrior to ever live. Here, we also meet his wife Harumi, son Satoshi, and his infant daughter, although, sadly, each of their lives are soon put in danger by the arrival of Bihan, an assassin of the Lin Kuei clan with the ability to manipulate ice, which he uses against Harumi and Satoshi, both found frozen to death by the time Hanzo returns. Distraught and filled with rage, Hanzo unleashes a violent attack against the rest of the Lin Kuei's assassins before entering an action-packed one-on-one battle against Bihan, that the latter ultimately comes out on top of, landing a pair of vicious stabs with Hanzo's own spear that leaves him with only enough life left to drag himself to the front of his compound before he succumbs to his wounds and vanishes in flames. Shortly after Hanzo's death, the Elder God and Protector of Earthrealm, Lord Raiden, appears, following the sounds of Hanzo's daughter crying, who he then retrieves before exiting just as quickly as he had arrived. We're then taken 4 centuries into the future to meet a former champion MMA fighter now struggling to make ends meet named Cole Young, as he prepares with his wife Allison and daughter Emily for a $200 cage fight. After the fight, which unfortunately continues his losing streak, his daughter attempts to raise his spirits by gifting him a string bracelet she'd made that matches her own, before he's then approached by a man named Jax Briggs, who recognizes Cole from his past championship victories and praises his performance despite the loss. But what particularly piques his interest is the dragon logo on Cole's chest, which Emily reveals is actually something he was born with. Cole and his family then head over to Oliver's Burgers to pick up something to eat. However, as they await their meal, it strangely begins snowing despite them being in July, soon revealed to be the result of Bihan's arrival, who now goes by Sub-Zero, as he unleashes an attack on the burger shop. Luckily, they're able to escape Sub-Zero's attack thanks to Jax, who, once having scooped the 3 up in his car, reveals that he has the same dragon marker as Cole, which isn't actually a birthmark, but rather means they've been chosen to fight. Before he can explain further, they're intercepted by Sub-Zero, so Jax gives Cole an address in Gary, Indiana, where he can find Sonya Blade to learn more, while he stays behind and enters a battle against Sub-Zero, which unfortunately doesn't go very well for him, as he's defeated rather easily after Sub-Zero gets hold of and shatters both of his arms, before sending him falling to what he assumes to be his death. After taking his family to safety, Cole tracks down Sonya Blade, from whom we learn that, during her and Jax's time served together in the Special Forces, they'd encountered a fugitive with superhuman abilities and who had the same dragon marking that Cole does, which, after Jax eventually managed to kill the target, instantly transferred directly onto his skin. Since then, she and Jax have discovered that throughout history, different cultures all over the world have referenced a great tournament, spanning across different realms and featuring different species that they didn't even know existed, known as Mortal Kombat, to which the dragon marking is an invitation, signifying they've been chosen to fight for Earth. While Sonya herself doesn't have the marking, she and Jax, believing another tournament is on the horizon, have begun gathering each of Earth's champions in preparation. However, they've so far only managed to locate Cole and a not-so-friendly Australian mercenary wanted for a plethora of crimes named Kano, leader of the Black Dragon criminal organization, and who got his marker by killing someone else who'd had it, just as Jax did. Kano's introduction, though, is soon interrupted by an attack on their hideout by a Sizoth, a reptilian creature with invisibility powers, which it uses to sneak up on the trio as it unleashes a vicious assault, managing to slash the right side of Kano's face with its claws. However, the creature's forced to reveal itself after being stabbed with a flare, which subsequently allows Kano to suddenly kill it by tearing out its heart. With the attack having destroyed their hideout, Sonya prepares for a journey to Raiden's temple, which, according to legend, is where Earth's champions used to train for Mortal Kombat. She hasn't yet pinpointed its location, but luckily for them, Kano used to run guns through the temple, and so agrees to take them to it, although only after Sonya promises him $3 million in return for his help, which, unbeknownst to him, she doesn't actually have. As they approach the temple, they're met by another champion of Earth named Liu Kang from the Shaolin Order of Light, who has the ability to manipulate fire and who confirms their theory that another tournament will soon be taking place to be true, although with much higher stakes than they'd anticipated. Outworld, the most brutal and murderous of all the realms, have managed to win 9 straight tournaments, and if they succeed in winning their 10th in a row, they'll be granted the power to take over Earthrealm. To ensure they'd come out victorious, powerful Outworld sorcerer and the second-in-command to Emperor Shao Kahn, Shang Tsung, had sent Sub-Zero and the Saizoth to kill each of Earth's champions, but to no avail, as their attacks only managed to injure the likes of Jax, who's seen now recovering in Raiden's temple after having surgery to replace his arms with a pair of much weaker mechanical ones. Cole, Sonya, and Kano are then introduced to Lord Raiden, who's unimpressed by the champions left to defend their realm, but prepares them for their training nonetheless. However, before it can begin, the temple is invaded by Shang Tsung, Sub-Zero, and another warrior of Outworld named Mileena, who unleash an attack on Liu Kang that's fortunately thwarted by another champion of Earthrealm, Kung Lao, the Grand Champion of the Order of Light, before Lord Raiden then arrives as well to prevent any further attack, conjuring an energy shield to protect the temple and leaving the villains with no choice but to exit. Shielded within the temple, Liu Kang and Kung Lao begin Cole and Kano's training in hopes of helping them unlock their inner power gifted to them from their marking, also known as their Arcana, although their attempts to unlock them in the fight pit are ultimately unsuccessful. So Kung Lao, recognizing Kano's short temper, repeatedly hurls insults at him in hopes that his rage would allow him to unlock his power. And this actually works, as Kano fires a laser beam from his eye out of anger. Nothing they try works for Cole though, despite him continuously getting his ass kicked in the fight pit. So he seeks answers from Raiden, questioning why he's the only champion who's had the marking since he was born. And Raiden reveals that Cole is the descendant of the great Hanzo Hasashi, whose daughter Raiden had saved from suffering the same fate as her brother, mother, and father, allowing his bloodline to live on and for the Hasashi marking to be passed down for generations. It was believed that the rise of Hanzo Hasashi's blood would help bring an end to Outworld's reign of terror, but Cole's inability to unlock the power of his bloodline appears to have made Raiden lose faith in the prophecy. So he opens a portal to send Cole back to his wife and daughter, while the others continue to prepare for the coming conflict. However, shortly after reuniting with his family, Cole's suddenly attacked by an Outworld champion named Prince Goro, whose power completely overwhelms him, prompting Allison to join the fight with an axe swing to Goro's torso, only to then be immediately sent flying by a strike from the beast, as he now sets his sights on her and Emily. The lives of his family being put in danger, though, is finally enough for Cole to unlock his Arcana, giving him golden armor that allows him to absorb and release the kinetic energy of Goro's attacks back onto him, as well as create weapons such as a pair of tonfas, with which he's ultimately able to kill the beast. Meanwhile at the temple, Kano's met at the border of Raiden's shield by another of Shang Tsung's warriors named Kabal, who we learn actually used to be a member of the Black Dragon clan until he was betrayed by Kano during a mission gone wrong that's left him unable to breathe without a respirator ever since. However, he hasn't come seeking revenge, and instead presents Kano with an even more lucrative offer than the one Sonya had made him to bring down Raiden's shield, which he accepts without hesitation. Once the shield's down, Shang Tsung, Sub-Zero, Mileena, Kabal, and 2 other warriors named General Reiko and Natara unleash another attack on the temple that nearly results in Sonya's death after she becomes trapped beneath rubble. But she's fortunately saved by Jax, whose mechanical arms suddenly transform and make him significantly stronger as he unlocks his Arcana. Elsewhere, Liu Kang battles against Kabal while Kung Lao challenges Shang Tsung. However, the sorcerer considers the challenge beneath him, and so sicks Natara on him instead, only for her to be brutally killed, although this then allows Shang Tsung to grab hold of and kill Kung Lao by sucking out his soul. With one of their best champions now dead, Raiden transports himself and the remaining warriors, including Cole, into what's known as the Void, a realm between his world and Earth that Shang Tsung is unable to follow them to, and within it they prepare a new plan of attack and to split up Outworld's warriors, with Raiden sending Jax to battle Reiko, Sonya into battle against Kano, and Cole and Liu Kang into battle against Mileena and Kabal, ahead of which Raiden also gifts Cole the blade of his ancestor, Hanzo Hasashi, so that his spirit could fight alongside him. With his new arms, Jax is able to soundly defeat Reiko, using them to obliterate his head with a single clap, while Sonya uses her years of training and elusivity to come out on top of her fight with Kano, who she manages to kill with a garden gnome through the eye, transferring his dragon marker onto her and allowing her to quickly unlock her arcana, which she then uses upon joining Liu Kang and Cole's battle against Mileena and Kabal, firing her pink energy bracelet straight through Melina's torso to kill her, while Liu Kang finishes off Kabal by summoning a fire dragon to engulf him. They're not yet able to celebrate their victory though, as Sub-Zero soon arrives through a portal with Cole's daughter's string bracelet in hand, prompting Cole to follow him back through the portal, which sends him back to his cage fighting gym, now completely covered in ice, as are his wife and daughter. Unfortunately, Sub-Zero's powers appear to be too much to overcome for Cole, who attempts to use Hanzo's blade to gain an advantage, only for it to be turned back on him, cutting open his hand as he attempts to hold it off. However, his blood dripping onto the blade triggers the resurrection of his ancestor, as Hanzo Hasashi suddenly returns from the Netherrealm as Scorpion, and his and Cole's combined powers prove to be enough to finally defeat Sub-Zero, who Scorpion ultimately kills by engulfing him in hellfire flames from his skull. Having finally concluded his endless search for revenge, Hanzo asks that Cole take care of his bloodline before departing back to Hell, and his exit is followed by Raiden, Liu Kang, Sonya, and Jax's arrivals, who were then also soon joined by Shang Tsung, warning that the next time they face him, he won't just bring warriors, he'll bring armies, before being banished back to Outworld by Raiden, who, with the tournament still to come, prepares a new list of champions for the heroes to find, and it seems that the first among them will be a movie star named Johnny Cage. And that was our recap of Mortal Kombat. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful in any way, then be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And also, let us know in the comments below what you're most looking forward to seeing in the upcoming Mortal Kombat 2. But once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.